thank you guys for joining us for our panel on building a community through cosplay. We're going to talk about how we do things with fundraisers, how we create our cosplays, how we built our community. First, I'd like to go talk to my amazing panel, and could you guys please introduce yourselves? Michelle?
Hi, everybody. My name is Michelle Ford. I'm a cosplayer, and I'm also the founder of the charity organization Capes for a Cause. We make costumes for children with physical and developmental disabilities. So later on, I'm going to be talking a little bit about how to give back as a cosplayer to the community. And then Renee.
Hi, I'm Renee. On social media, you can find me as codename Citadel, and I have been cosplaying for, I realized, closer to 20 years than 10.
Nice.
So, super old.
Tough to follow that up. My name is Elena, Elenablueskies online. I've been cosplaying for about 10 years, doing a little bit of everything at this point. Very happy to be here.
Hey guys, I'm Vanta. Vanta Creates on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good stuff. And I am super excited to be here. I have been cosplaying, I think now it's 5 years, but I lost track because the pandemic sucked us in a black hole. But I'm really excited to hop back into everything, and I'm excited to teach you guys some DIY tricks that I've learned along the way.
Amazing. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Sade Page, also known as What Page Is It? And I do cosplays, content creation, and comic books, so also a big nerd and a big fan of these guys. So, to start off, are you ready for the hard-hitting questions? Just kidding. All right, so I want to start off first. How did you first find out about cosplay? You can go around, whoever likes to start first.
I think that Halloween is kind of the gateway to cosplay for a lot of people. And then one day you kind of find out that you could have Halloween whenever you want, and that's really appealing. I think, like Renee's saying, that you've inadvertently been cosplaying for a long time without knowing that's what you were doing, really. There wasn't a community around it, or you were just kind of a Halloween person.
Halloween is definitely the gateway drug. Absolutely. If Halloween's your holiday, you're probably a cosplayer. But I had friends that would throw theme parties where everybody would have to dress up, and then they introduced me to the con community, so we would go like as a group, as like the Batman villains or something else. So that was my first introduction, was following them to cons.
I'll go. So I love Halloween, but I wasn't allowed to do Halloween as a kid because my parents are very religious. So I guess this is kind of like against the establishment, like, oh, I can't have Halloween as a kid. Well, now I'm a cosplayer. Like, now Halloween every day. It's been a really great journey because you learn a lot about yourself. But I saw on Tumblr, back in the Tumblr days, there was black people who cosplay, and that page kind of like blew my mind. So I was like, oh, I found my people. I can do this now. And so that's how it started.
I actually have a little bit of a unique story. I have a background in theater and opera performance, and so my whole life I was on stage and around a lot of like costume design and makeup and things like that. Did a lot of like stage makeup classes in school, and kind of taught myself to sew, and I was always kind of helping with costumes and things like that. And after coming to New York and getting to do a bit of performing here, I wanted to get more involved in the creative process. So I was always volunteering at local theater communities to help them build their costumes, build their sets, do their, I was helping other actors do their makeup, and that's sort of how it became, an art for me. And it was a nice, easy transition right into cosplay because I wanted to make my own costumes, and so that was how I got into it. Yeah. He's here.
You made it! Coming in hot. Hey.
Hi, Amina.
Do we have another mic for Leva, or should we probably share? Yeah. Front row seat.
Yay!
You gonna sit right next to Michelle.
Yeah, right here.
You can sit next to Michelle. You can hold Rocket.
All right.
Wait, you made Rocket, didn't you?
Yes.
How's everybody doing? Sorry for my tardiness.
Fashionably late, I can approve. Can you? Oh, God. If you must stand, please.
All right.
Amazing.
Perfect. What did I miss?
You gotta introduce yourself now.
I'm Levi James at Mr. Abs Fitness on Facebook and part of the New York City Fantastic Four. Also a part of Capes for a Cause. I like to collaborate with Michelle as well. She does some great work in the community, and it's inspiring. And I'm glad my daughter's here to see and be a part of it. And actually, she met Michelle at Comic-Con when you had the jellyfish dress, and I was blown away. And I was trying to get a picture with her, but there were like 7 photographers lined up, so I waited patiently. I'm like, my daughter would like a picture with you, and she was so sweet, and it was awesome. And she does a lot of great things, and the great thing about what Capes does, it's not just for the kids in special needs, because all the things they deal with and they address, everybody deals with on some level. That level of discomfort, that level of social anxiety, all those things everybody can relate to, no matter what your situation is. But I love cosplay. I love Deep Comics cosplay, and I'm sure I'll let you know more as we go along. I don't want to be a microphone hog. But nice to meet everybody.
Thanks, Levi.
Well, no, I want to go now talk more about what you guys do at the Capes Crusade. So go ahead and explain more how you help with kids and everything.
Yeah, sure. So essentially, a little bit of background about this organization. So prior to the pandemic, a lot of the ways that cosplayers would give back was doing hospital visits, particularly children's hospitals. That's actually where I met Renee. We were both cosplayers at a local children's hospital up in Queens. So we did a lot of that in 2017, 18, 19, and then the pandemic hit. And in 2020, I had several cosplayers message me on Instagram, and we were all sort of like, what do we do now? How can we give back? I don't think we are allowed to go to hospitals for a long time. What can we do? And so we started brainstorming, and we were like, well, okay, how can we give back? And essentially, long story short, after a lot of collaboration, we came up with this idea. And so basically what we do is we essentially find a family, usually with a special needs child, and we meet with them. We find out what are the needs of the child, what is it that they require in a costume, basically, and we find out what they love. What characters do they love? What are they interested in? What do they want to cosplay as? And then basically we get together and we do build events and we make them a costume. And we love making costumes that fit around wheelchairs. That's been kind of our signature thing the past couple of years. So, and then what we do is once we get it built, we do kind of a big reveal event in front of the family and unveil the costume in front of the kiddo. So it's been super rewarding, and I've gotten to work with a ton of great cosplayers. We share tips with each other, and we of course take a regular cosplay costume that, like Levi said, might be a little bit uncomfortable, and we adapt it, right, for a child who, maybe they need Velcro enclosures instead of zippers. Maybe they need quick access in and out of it. So we do whatever we can to adapt the costume to make sure that it's wearable, for anyone, really, but for specifically that child. So yeah, that's kind of a little bit about what we do. Yeah, that's awesome.
Do you guys want to talk more about how you do more charity-wise within the cosplay community, or anything at all? Do you want other experience you've had with doing more charity work or fundraising within the cosplay community? Well, you talked about your hospital visits.
I was going to say, she already stole my thunder. We used to do a lot of hospital visits or charity events, and I think the most fun thing about that is you get to actually play and the kids play back. That's the best part of it, is going in and you're not just wearing a costume, but you are Elsa or you are Tinkerbell or whatever. And just to take them out of whatever they're going through for that moment, or just have their family participate in something where they're just having fun instead of thinking about the next treatment they have to go through. I had a brother who went through cancer treatment, and I know how, important those fleeting moments are, where you can just kind of be a kid and have fun and play, especially if you're stuck there for a long time. So that was always fun for us and super rewarding for us as well.
So, with doing all this amazing work you guys have done, how did you start or find this community of cosplayers together? Even outside of just doing the charity work, how did you find your cosplay community from how you started?
I had to think. So I made an Instagram profile, and I followed a bunch of people, and people I would see like at conventions, or people that I admired, or foamsmiths that I have always been like, oh, this is so cool, and asked people for tips. And I was just like a fan of people for a really long time. And then I started making stuff more, and making, and then we were talking, and then I, had my own panel, which was really like a kind of a fever dream. I came up with a panel idea as a joke, and then applied, and then I got accepted. So I have to speak in front of people, which I don't like doing. So, so that was also a whirlwind. But the more I talked to people, the more I asked for advice, the more I, met friends and photographers, and I met my fiance, and and building a community. I didn't realize how much I needed it. We're all weird kids. Like, we were all nerds in school, and it's nice to be around other nerds because you don't feel so ostracized anymore. It's like you find your home, you find your people.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm probably going to say what Levi was thinking, but I think a lot of people kind of band together too around fandoms that they love. I think there's a lot of really passionate people about all kinds of different shows and movies and books and anything that you can think of. Levi and I worked together on the New York City Fantastic Four, and that's something that he's really passionate about, and I've become passionate through his passion, and we're having a great time doing that together. So I think you can find people just from what you love, and you find out that they love it too.
Yeah, just to add, just to add on to that, it's like it's the common interest. It'll happen organically. You don't have to force it. I mean, it was simply me with Michelle, just simply walking with my daughter, and we spotted her. Renee, we were fans of each other and followed each other, but we just happened to talk for the first time last year in this very room, just sitting in front of each other. And then Vanta, through Tim and Mass Dad, so the builders, it sort of happens organically, and then you can push it even further just by seeking out people. Just reach out, because most people, they like being asked questions. Hey, how did you make that? How long did it take? What did you use? And it just grows organically from there. What did you say?
Okay, so what has been a piece of advice to making cosplay that you've kept with you for a while, for each project?
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
What was the best cosplay building tip that you could share with us, basically, that you've gotten from somebody else?
I got mine this last year in this very room from Levi, who said, because I think I was just trying to buy, foam, buy leather, buy full pieces of fabric and make things. And he was like, if I see a couch on the side of the street, I go out with my knife and I cut up that perfectly good leather because I could use that for something. And I was like,
yes,
yeah.
I asked you this last year, and you said that.
And I will point out,
Yes.
I don't want to steal your thunder, but all these silver grommets are Easter eggs. Anything could be, to just have that creative lens to look at the world, trash, and my house is now, of course, a hoarder zone, because I'm like, that could be something. But yeah, you can find things anywhere that are free or super cheap, and use those as bases of cosplay or detailing stuff. So it doesn't have to be expensive. You could use anything.
I would say number one, the first thing, build things. Start with your passion. Build things you're passionate about. Because when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and you're tired and you have to go to work and you're working on this thing for a month and a half, what's going to push you across the finish line? It has to be something you love, otherwise it's not worth it. But also, I would also say, before you start anything, focus on it, research on it, visualize, have sketches, put all the work into the planning process. And the more work you put in the planning process, it definitely makes everything you do from the starting point to the finishing point so much easier. The more you plan, the more work you put in the beginning, the smoother it's going to go, and it won't even feel like work. That's probably the best tip I could give.
To take on to that too, I think be patient with yourself. We give ourselves really tight deadlines and impossible projects to finish in unrealistic amounts of time. But I think it can get really frustrating when you're trying to do something for the first time and it's not really working the way that you thought it would in your mind, and you might have to try something new or do a bunch of research and watch a bunch of videos. But it's easy to get down on yourself and become frustrated with an entire project. I have a graveyard of half-finished projects in my house, and it just happens, and hopefully someday I'll give myself a little grace and finish them up. But that would be the best thing, I think, starting out at least.
I would say stick with it. So I was making Ashoka for New York Comic Con. I don't remember the year, but the Tuesday before New York Comic Con, I hated it, and I was going to throw it in the trash. I was up at like 5 o'clock. I'm like, I don't like this. I'm going to throw it away. I'm not going to do it anymore. And then I came home, and I'm like, no, let me just keep going, because I'm sure it'll look great when I'm done. That was probably the best New York Comic Con I've ever had. I had like a bunch of people come up to me, which always feels great. Rosario Dawson reshared my photo, and if I didn't stick with it, none of that would have happened. It comes down to, sometimes the world throws things at you, and it's a test of like, how much do you want it? How much can I believe in myself? And that's mainly what it is. Just believe in yourself, and you can make it. And that kind of follows through with everywhere. I believed in myself a lot more, and now I'm here. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn, and now I'm talking in front of people. So when you believe in yourself, you can do a lot.
Can I have one more tip? Oh, sorry. This is, especially for builders and artists, this is so important. No matter how creative and how talented you are, everybody has blind spots. You can't see the forest from the trees. You need to have 1 or 2 close confidants that can be honest with you, that see all your stuff before anybody else does. Anything I post online, Mark and Tim have seen it the night before, and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. They're like, well, what about that? I'm like, okay, let me not post that just yet. So you need to have somebody. In the military, they call it somebody watching your six. Artistically, you need somebody watching your back and to tell you and to show you things to cover your blind spots that you can't see from your perspective. So that's so important, because you won't see it, and they'll save you the trouble or embarrassment from posting it or wearing it. But they'll make sure you step forward with your best foot forward.
Also, real quick, when you see these costumes and these cosplayers who are doing these incredible things, and you're just blown away by their costumes, I would say that it doesn't necessarily have to be something super grand, and it doesn't necessarily have to be something super simple, and you don't actually have to copy a character exactly. You can kind of make it your own, put a twist on it, whatever it is. It doesn't have to look a certain way. So sometimes I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves, to make things bigger and better and outdo what we did last time, or outdo this or that. So I think it's just a cool form of expression, and it could be something as simple as like adding color to your braids and wearing a t-shirt, so it doesn't have to be this really stressful thing that takes you months. So yeah, just enjoy it, have fun with it, play with it, so yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, guys. Now, I want to go ahead and let the audience ask some questions if you have any. I'm going to have her take the microphone to whoever has questions. Just raise your hand.
Anyone? I know you have questions.
We don't bite, I promise. We're all really nice.
Or advice?
There we go.
What was your longest build? What was your longest build? You were like 4 years, right?
Wait, I'm sorry.
Your longest build.
My longest build? Oh my God, that Mojo. Sorry. That was about 2 years. But I also I started on it, and then I stopped. And I didn't have a couch for like 6 months because it was taking up so much space, and I kind of gave up on it. And I sort of I was frustrated because my first idea originally was to have it mounted onto a chair that I could move with. But then I got rid of the chair and I just started rebuilding from scratch. And through that process, I wound up with something much better that I could actually wear, and I didn't have to worry about rolling around. So then I started getting excited once I picked it back up again. And that next year, and then I signed up for Comic-Con for the contest. And I won Best Special Effects. So I was like, it was so good just to finish something 2 years later. Like finally, it's ready. And 2 trips on the subway to get it to Comic-Con. And she got to have a couch back. And she took the first pictures at home.
Any other questions? I'm coming over.
Hi. How do you guys maintain your cosplays, like, over time?
Depends on the material. And if I want to wear it again. Also, I will say, realistically, depending on how tired I am at the end of the con, like I just threw this in the backseat of my car last night when I should have wrapped it in bubble wrap. And so it depends on the fabric. I have a lot of stuff in my attic that I know is okay in different temperatures throughout the year. I have some stuff that's in plastic bins wrapped in bubble wrap if it's fragile. Definitely, and I need to be better about this. I feel like all the advice I'm saying, it's like for myself. Make sure you wash everything when you get home. I have like an Excel sheet for every costume that lists all the pieces, so I know like what goes in what bag when I'm packing it. I'll stop talking, but yeah, that's what works for me. Okay, I'm happy to share that Excel sheet. I will also say if you're traveling, flying with costumes, especially like prop weapons, I put a picture of the cosplay in the suitcase with a note saying, these are fake weapons, it's for a cosplay, please be gentle, thank you. And then sometimes I'll put like a QR code for like a Starbucks gift card, just so that they're like extra careful with it, but yeah, if you're gonna travel.
So I have multiple methods. If it's clothing, I fold everything and put them in a Ziploc bag, and then I label it and stick it underneath the bed. But like all my Spidey suits are together. And then props, I keep in my parents' basement, which usually is terrifying at night, because if you see Pyramid Head in the basement, you're usually scared shitless. Crapless, sorry. But I think it's best to label everything as well as you can. And like she said, write out an itemized list of what props go with what costume has saved me a lot of time, because I will forget where everything is in my apartment.
And also, too, you're going to have normal wear and tear that happens, especially if you're at a con for more than 6 hours, which is probably normal for most people. But do not wait. No matter how tired you are, when you get home, address it right away. Anything that fell off, address it right away, because what's going to happen, you're going to put it away, you're going to forget, then you're going to wear it again, and it's going to fall apart. So it's better to address it right away. And for me, for anything big like this, I don't really put it away. I just hang it up. I mean, not everybody wants to do that, because my apartment looks messy, but you hang it up so that way there's less of a chance of something crushing it. And if it's a big piece that you want to keep in good condition, just try to hang it up and keep it away from moisture and heat.
Yeah, I will add one more thing too. If you're going to a con and you know some things are fragile, I keep in my backpack like scissors, zip ties, glue, fabric glue, safety pins, because I know that something's gonna happen, or to someone else, and I can be like, I have a safety pin. So I keep like a repair kit with me.
Yeah.
Questions?
What's the hardest lesson that you've learned that you realized afterwards you didn't have to go through and other beginners might be able to benefit from?
I think there's a lot of lessons, especially early on in some of the new materials that people work with, about what is and is not a toxic fume. There's certain things you can heat up that might seem like they're okay, and it is not okay. So I think that's something to always keep in mind.
Oh, I got one. Amazon boxes. Everybody orders from Amazon. You know, you have boxes that'll go in the garbage. Practice building. It's all about 3D representation. Build it in cardboard. It won't cost you anything. You're able to get the size and the proportions right before you even touch any foam and the other expensive material you're going to use. Use that for practice. That definitely will save you a lot of money, and also it'll build your confidence. Because then when you work on it with the actual material, you're not building something new. You've already built it in cardboard. You just do it again.
Procrastination is not good. Do not procrastinate your cosplays. I'm talking to myself. Do not procrastinate your cosplays. As soon as you have an idea, start working on it because things will happen and then, it's 2 days before New York Comic Con and you have nothing. So I always tell people, and I wish I took this advice, but yeah, start your cosplays early. Like you said, visualize it, draw sketches, have reference images, get it all in your head so that when you start, you've done the grunt work. And start and then keep going and don't stop and don't procrastinate because too much time will go and then you'll be stressed out before the con. Con crunching is bad. Don't do it.
And also, if you feel yourself getting burnt out with a very big, ambitious build, but you feel like you still want to do it, but you feel like you're getting burned out, take a break, change a lane, do like a little side project, just something little for fun, just to kind of rejuvenate your batteries. Because sometimes, no matter how much you love something, it can just wear you down. And I was in the middle of the build, and then I needed a break from it, and I started watching Suicide Squad, and I'm like, oh my God. And this is awesome. The second Suicide Squad, not the first one, was terrible. And as I'm watching it, like 30 minutes into the movie, I'm like, oh my God, I have those plastic balls. And I already started making a Star Wars mask, like right there on the spot, because I just got inspired. So, but then when I went back to the big build, it was good. I felt rejuvenated now because I didn't feel so worn out and drained. So sometimes it's good to switch lanes. It's good for your creative juices, I would say.
Questions?
Hi. Do you guys like to thrift clothing, then like alter it, or do you guys like to sew from scratch?
Yes. Yes. I am a thrifter, yes. I try to thrift most of my cosplays because cosplay is a very expensive hobby.
It is.
And also Amazon is great because you can wear a t-shirt for a cosplay or you could just wear it outside. Nobody will know. I made a Snow White dress out of thrifted products. It cost $20 tops. So I try to challenge myself to spend under $100 for every cosplay.
And that was how I started, actually. The very, very first time I ever cosplayed, I was just interested in a certain costume, and so I essentially went and bought pieces for that costume and then altered it for myself. And that's how I started learning. And then from there, your confidence grows and you figure out how to kind of construct the pieces from scratch. But yeah, thrifting, altering, that was how I got started.
I'm going to speak from the buying fabric and sewing perspective. But I'm come from a fashion design background and my passion is sewing, so I love to play with different textures and colors of fabric to make things feel more special. But I have it down to a science how much of a bodysuit I can get out of 1 yard of fabric, and that's
a really good skill.
That is my skill, yes.
Also, but before Elena picked up the microphone, what I was just going to say is, as part of building your community, and you're making friends and you're reaching out, you're asking questions, if you know somebody that has really good skills, like Elena, befriend them, talk to them, ask them questions. You reach out to them, they will get back to you. Because everybody loves sharing their expertise. And if I have a question, I'll hit her up. I mean, my sewing skills are very rudimentary. I can't do anything great, but I can basically push it through the sewing machine. But if I have a serious question, I'm definitely going to hit her up. But yeah, and I love thrifting as well.
Thank you.
Questions? Does anyone else have a question?
What was your hardest costume you made?
So Pyramid Head, I guess, was the hardest to make, not from skill set, because it was a lot of math, and I don't like math. It was difficult because I was building everything from scratch. The tutorials online weren't that helpful. I had to make everything custom to my head, and I did spend like a good 2 hours just drawing everything out and trying to get the measurements together. But once I got the measurements, it was okay. It was just like a lot of trial and error and like figuring out how to get things. But then I feel like there's a part, and I think you guys would also agree, there's a part when you are building something and it starts to look exactly the way you want, and that is such a like an aha moment, and then you keep going, and that's like the adrenaline that pushes you through the project because it looks exactly the way you see it in your head. And so I guess I got to that point after the math, and this is my favorite cosplay so far because I stuck with it.
I would say this one, and specifically these bracers, and also because math. Each bracer is 144 pieces of foam, and it drove me insane for a very long time, where I was just like posting on my Instagram story, like, please somebody like explain how to do this. And I tried so many different ways that people suggested and been like, thank you, but it's not exactly this, until somebody described it as an Escher staircase of foam. And I was like, that's it. And so then it was, cutting the foam and gluing the foam and painting it and putting it all together. But I think the mental part of it, like figuring out how to make it what I wanted it to look like, was the hardest part.
It definitely is a problem solving sometimes where you have to figure out how to make something work on your body the way that you see it in a piece of art that you liked. Like this giant cape is very heavy, and if I attached it to my bodysuit, it would be not a comfortable situation. So I had to build kind of a foam base under it to sit on my shoulders to support the weight of the cape. Oh, my secret's revealed. But it is kind of trying to figure out how to bring it to life.
I want to know your hardest.
Oh gosh, yeah. For me, it's interesting. I usually tend to categorize my costumes in terms of the work that I have to do on the front end versus the work I have to do day of. I have some costumes that take me hours to get into day of, and those are totally different than the costumes that I do all the work on the front end, and then I can kind of just throw it on. For me, the one that took the longest to make, I would say, was Mira Jellyfish, but it was fairly easy to get into day of. But yeah, it was so much sewing, so much sewing. Oh, and I sewed in LED lights into each strand, and I had battery packs underneath the skirts, so that one was big. But actually, also Proxima Midnight took a long time. That one took a long time because I wanted to get more into like the intricacy of makeup design, and so I decided to try to make my own prosthetics, and I did a life cast of my head and sculpted it out of clay, and so that one was a lot of work in a different way, and it took me about 5 hours to get into day of. So, and Nebula also took about that long to get into day of. So it depends, every costume's different. So yeah.
There's one thing I've noticed with cosplayers is we'll see something that's like super intricate and very crazy, and we're like, I want to do that. I don't understand why we think this way, but I guess we like being challenged. But something that's and it'll be something like very left field, like, oh, I'm gonna learn LED paneling. Like who knows? No, most people would never, aspire to learn that. But I love that. I love our ambition that we see the impossible and we make it possible.
Yeah, and I think no matter where you're at, skill set wise or wherever you are in your cosplay journey, just kind of keep that same mindset. How every build, you can learn a new skill set and add it into your tool belt. Add another skill into your tool belt, and along the way, you'll build new skill and new skill and new skill. So don't let anything be so intimidating to you. Just take it one step at a time, and you can learn one new skill with each build. And each build can be a lesson that you learn and will push you further in your journey.
In the theme of this session, too, I think my overarching advice for finding your cosplay community and getting into it is never hold in a compliment. I think the majority of the skills I've learned, it's because I've gone up to someone and said, oh my God, I love this, how did you do it? And sometimes even without asking, how did you do it, they'll just start word vomiting, oh my God, let me show you how to, and they'll like rip it open. And I'm definitely guilty of that. People are like, oh, I just wanted to say hi, but here's the tutorial. But that's how I learn the majority of my skills, is saying like, I love this, can you show me how to do it? And then I typically end up being friends with them because, yeah.
May I ask a question? Or maybe not a question, but can you guys briefly talk about some of the unsung heroes of cosplay, which are our cosplay handlers?
Oh my God, yes. Cosplay handler, please stand up. Yeah, so, so quick. Yeah. Yeah, cosplay handlers, photographer, he does it all. He also sees me at 2 a.m. screaming and crying over something that is probably very easy to fix, but I don't know how to fix it, to my fiance. So thank you so much, cosplay handlers, photographers, all you guys. You guys put in so much work. You are our unsung heroes. We appreciate you very much.
Honestly, cosplay handlers are really just your support system. So it can be anybody. It can be a sibling, a friend, a spouse, a partner. And they're just people who support what you want to do, your passions in life. And so if you have a group of people or one person like that in your life, consider yourself extremely lucky. And hopefully you can then return the support to them and support their passions as well in what they want to do. So, yeah.
All right, guys, thank you so much for talking with us about your cosplay community, your experience, tips and tricks. I need an Excel sheet, I'm just saying. But yes, and thank you guys for the amazing questions, and I hope you enjoyed. And can we also do one more going around your name, your handle, so we can follow you guys?
Levi James, Mr. Abs Fitness on Instagram, and New York City Fantastic Four on Instagram. And this is my daughter, Rabina. She's not on Instagram yet.
So you can find me personally. It's just my first and last name, Michelle Ford, and that's F-O-A-R-D, Michelle Ford. And then if you guys are interested and you'd like to volunteer with the charity, we would love to have you, whether it's building a costume or coming to an event. We actually do a lot of events besides just costume builds. We, after we kind of built up a bit of notoriety in the community, people started contacting us and they asked us to come do children's visits at schools. We got asked to do a parade, a Thanksgiving parade, and we all came in cosplay and did that. So we need cosplayers, we need builders, sewers. If you're interested at all in volunteering, we need you. So yeah, give us a follow. It's Capes for a Cause is the handle, and the website's capesforacause.org. So, and the sign is actually right down there in the corner as well. So yeah, please contact us if you're interested in getting involved, okay?
I will echo that. Please get involved. They're fantastic. I'm codenamed Citadel on social media. I know that's kind of maybe a hard thing to spell, so I do have business cards if anybody wants to connect, but I am always happy to answer a question if you send me a DM or an email or stop me at a con. I want everybody to be able to build or feel good about what they're wearing at a con and explore fandom that way, so please reach out.
My name is Elena, and you can find me at Elenablueskies, also NYC_Fantastic4.
Vanta Creates, you can find me on all social media as Vanta Creates, and also please DM me questions if you want to just talk about prop making, movies, all that good stuff. I'm always around, and I'm more than happy to help.
And I'm Sade Page, also known as What Page Is It? You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. And once again, thank you guys for coming.
I say, guys, just keep in mind, community starts with you. So you can start your community just with you and your small circle of friends and build it up from there. Wherever you start from is where you're at. Like that's where your community is. So you don't always have to be part of something. You don't always have to. You don't have to feel intimidated. You can start with something small and then just always expand it. And look for the opportunities look for the opportunities where people are trying to help people as well, like Capes for a Cause, because they're out there. So reach out. Reach out for Capes and start your community right now with your friends as well. Don't be afraid. Get started today and build your support system. And then you can reach out and join other communities as well. And we can't wait to have you.